combination of IV and pills should yield a prognosis in a few weeks of whether treatment needs to continue. Does that answer your question?
I guess that's the answer to a different question.
You know, Ari, facing a life-threatening disease doesn't just reap its toll on the body.
Why are so many Jews urologists?
Is that a thing?
Every urologist I've met is Jewish. Maybe the reason I'm trying to get Marina back is that the last 3 people who have touched my balls have been 50-year-old Jewish men.
I'm 46. I guess it's because after millennia of persecution, our basic instinct is to help people. No matter the prestige, you know, the area of the body, we like to help people. And of course, penises are very funny, and we acknowledge that.
It doesn't seem to be the most glamorous job.
It's fun, you know. It forces you to have a good sense of humor. And it feels good, Ari, to be able to help people who really need help.
Okay.
Do you know Hebrew?
I had a bar mitzvah.
The Hebrew word for love is ahava, to love. It's made up of 3 basic Hebrew letters that correspond to each syllable of the word. But the aleph, the first letter, is just a modifier. So there's a separate root in the word to love. To give. The root of the word love in Hebrew is give. Isn't that fantastic?
Yeah, really.
Love is giving.
That's it, thank you.
We're supposed to be doing these in alphabetical order, but the reason we're doing these guys is they've got someplace else to go, including the next person, Cory Finley, who's a playwright and another actor, and a journalist from St. Louis, Missouri. His concentration project play, The Private Sector, written with Donald Margulies, is being produced here at Yale this weekend for the theater for the New City in Manhattan this June. Cory Finley.
So this play began as sort of a dystopic riff on J.M. Barrie's Lost Boys, and it transmogrified itself at some point into the story of a corporate training retreat for the new hires of a hedge fund. And this, I'm going to read a brief segment from about the middle of the play. I don't think it needs a lot of setup. The 2 characters are Will, who is a young English major, and Julian, who is his sort of vaguely sinister training instructor and a managing director at the firm. There's a brief reference to Susanna, who's another character who's not actually important for this scene. And I have in an act of lunacy, I'm going to read both parts. I've promised several other concentrators that I do funny voices, but I think I'm actually just going to kind of do this. And so, Julian says, "Why do you take the job? If this is about Susanna, then no, this is about me wanting to hear from you why you took the job. I want to develop a set of skills that are specific enough to make me genuinely useful, but broad enough to have applications across a whole variety of career paths, to become financially independent quickly, and to build a strong network of effective and interesting people who can continue to..." Okay, here's the deal. People aren't interesting. Nervous laugh. What do you mean? People are not interesting. The mind is interesting. Sure, it's extremely interesting, but the ugly, slack-jawed bodies that carry those minds around are emphatically not interesting, are in fact depressingly finite in their range of expression. You get to a certain age, Will, and in fact I think you're getting there yourself, and you realize that, broadly speaking, everyone around you is just repeating themselves ad nauseum. They're narrow variations on a tired theme. You keep waiting for people to surprise you, and you keep getting disappointed. So that was a very good interview answer, but it was not honest because it was not true. So again, why do you take this job, Will? Because I wanted to be important. Important. Yeah, you know, I don't know how to put this. Professors aren't important, and I can't play sports, and I hate politics, but I'm smart. Yeah. I'm really fucking smart. Hell yeah. And I've just always been pretty good at pretty much whatever, so I figured, you know, I'd be good at this. At some point, I guess I just got tired of pretending to have passions, you know? I've never been able to admit that. It's like you're just expected to have some burning passion, some way you want to change the world, and you're like this half person if you don't. I'm kind of okay with the world, I guess. I just want to show up at the party of life. I guess I just want to show up. Sorry, that was Julian interrupting. Will, I'd like to offer you a different job.
Okay, Cooper here with his cast. Cooper Lewis is next up. He's from the Great Plains, and he thinks Yale is just plain great.
Hi, so before I turn it over to Tom and Bonnie, who've graciously agreed to read for me, this is a play following the life of the historical figure Ethan Allen, who was originally a furniture maker, but at this point in the play he has been put in charge of persecuting loyalism in the Republic of Vermont when it was briefly its own sovereign country, and he's about to get paid a visit in his furniture studio. He's building a seat to sit in as the judge of Vermont. Pieces of trees and unfinished furniture litter the stage. Ethan is affixing a leather seat to a large cedar throne. Fanny Buchanan enters. She's about 10 years younger than Ethan, elegant, with a fur collar and a behemoth plum hoop skirt.
How much for that chair?
I'm afraid it's for personal use.
Is it? I admire your personal extravagance. I think everybody deserves to be extravagant, even carpenters. I would like to order one in purple.
I'm afraid I'm retired from my craft.
You don't seem very retired to me. How much for a bed?
A bed, ma'am?
Yes, sir, a bed.
Depends on how big the bed is. Supposing it was for two.
I am recently widowed, sir.
What a shame to hear that. Me too, I have a dead wife.
Retired and widowed, both at once? How on earth do you pass your time?
Rotting.
And making chairs for yourself to rot in.
About the bed.
Oh, Christ.
What's the matter?
Nothing, sir. A flush. Blood in the face. As I get older, I experience the most mystifying physical sensations. What will it be for the bed and the chair?
I've laid down my tools, miss. I'm very sorry to say.
And I am sorry to hear it. I want that chair, sir.
I'm afraid that chair was commissioned for my new occupation.
I thought you said you were retired, sir.
I'm retired from my craft. If you are looking for a furniture maker, I can direct you to Brick Ward in Riverton.
As it happens, I am not looking for a furniture maker.
Then what are you looking for in a furniture studio? A second husband?
It might sound strange to you, sir, but I am looking for a judge.
A judge? Why, I'm a judge.
I do not enjoy it when my laborers trifle with me.
It's the truth. The chair was commissioned by the court. It's the seat of justice.
Sitting in the seat of justice does not make you the law, sir. It makes you a presumptuous carpenter.
I am the judge.
What's your name?
Ethan.
So you are Justice Allen?
The same.
Justice Allen?
Ethan.
Ethan. You owe me an explanation. Why have you summoned my father out of the grave?
Pardon me, ma'am?
Earlier today, an elderly gentleman burst into my home and informed me that my father, in spite of his recent death, had been summoned to the court of the Republic of Vermont by the Honorable Ethan Allen. Perhaps you have an explanation for this disturbance of the sanctity of death? Or perhaps you have no explanation and are a necromancer in addition to being a carpenter and a judge.
Old Remember is prone to episodes of extreme confusion, getting lost, forgetting his breeches. Twice a child, you know. He was once a diligent servant of his country, but the stress of war and revolution has, I fear, misshaped his brain. Where did you send him?
To the graveyard.
That was very wicked of you, sending a baffled old man out in the night to stumble over graves.
That's where you should have to go if you want to make accusations about the departed. So that's where I sent your bailiff.
Oh dear.
Was my reasoning unsound?
What's your name, madam? I'm sure old man's misunderstanding lies at the heart of this awkwardness.
I'm Francis Buchanan.
Francis Buchanan.
If you were a carpenter, I'd let you call me Fanny.
Fanny.
Tisk, sir, you are a judge. Don't be improperly informal. You may call me Miss Buchanan.
Miss Buchanan.